Hello everyone, it's your boy JK Dripmode, and today we're gonna create. It's been a while. I've been itching to build something, just life been busy, but you always gotta make room for those things that make you feel good and calibrate and stuff like that. So back in here creating. Lately, you know, the toy collecting has slowed down, especially that this room is already pretty compact. It doesn't really allow you to really collect more, but psych. Boom, Indiana Jones. You know what, this is a first for me. You know, I don't have anything Indiana Jones, and now we have the opportunity to have Indy in our collection, especially us 80s and 90s babies, right? Like Raiders of the Lost Ark, Temple of Doom, Last Crusade. These are classic films, and Mr. Harrison Ford over here, Mr. Indiana Jones, he's the star guy. So definitely happy to get him. Started collecting. You know how he gets. You got one, you gotta start collecting all of them. Especially with this whole Build-A-Figure kind of thing. So yes, this guy right here. So from part 1, Raiders of the Lost Ark, the idea here, especially that they give us the golden idol. So I'm like, let's build that scene where he gets the idol and he swaps it with a bag of sand. So that is the classic scene of Indiana Jones. When you actually heard about Indiana Jones, it's that scene, and then after that it's that big bulldozer that just comes after you. That's the classic Indiana Jones right there, right? So I don't have the room to build like a huge tile, so I was thinking to myself, something small, something nice, and something that really speaks to the figure, but also, you know, the scene of that figure, right? So made me think of the pillar, where or the podium, whatever you just want to call it, where this statue sits on. So that pillar is the idea that I have for today. Pretty simple, working on the foundations and playing with some other techniques. Great to get back into it, I think. So that's what we're gonna do. Let's get to it. Alright, so getting into the homework. I was looking at the movie, took some snapshots of some important scenes or just details that I wanted to look at. I'm not gonna build the whole diorama. I mean, that'll be sick, but I want to make this a small piece because I want to focus on Indy swapping the sculpture with the bag of sand, the base, and then each of these tiles, you know, the pattern of that tile, and seeing how many cylinder blocks I need. I'm looking at it right now. I'm gonna go into a little bit more, but trying to see what's the actual pattern in these things. But yeah, that's really the direction I think I'm gonna go with building this. I'm trying to figure out what to use. I have a lot of spare foam pieces that I could use, but I also have one of these wooden pallets that would probably be the reference of the size I think I want to use. I don't know if I'm going to use this or if it's just easier just to cut out a piece of foam instead. But great reference for a base. Now I always recommend playing first before building anything. So here, what I'm trying to do here is, this will be the center. I have Indy right here. So Indy would have to be this close, right, to swapping the gold. Perfect. Did the major carving, and also want to make sure everything looked appropriately, and by scale, anatomically. So that's why I'm putting Indy here. I'm using this stick just to keep things together. Right now it's not glued, and also just trying to make sure everything is in perfectly balanced. So now really is sanding and going into the details before painting, because painting really is gonna be simple. Right now it's pretty sharp, so I could just sand it down with the brick. For those that appreciate detail to the edges. Now blend it down. Alright, now we're gonna get into the details. Now, this stand that has these cylinder pillars, right? They have these patterns. It's not hieroglyphics, or maybe I'm wrong, but it doesn't look like hieroglyphics, but it looks like patterns, and it goes all around each one of these. So I'm gonna figure out a way to get these details going, and some of the stuff I'm gonna hand draw them, and some of the stuff I'm gonna just use things that I have around to kind of help me get to this process. Objects like this to help me just create these patterns as fast as I can. It definitely will help keep things consistent. So now everything's done. The details are already added. Added some imperfections using a rock, as you see right here, right? And glued everything. So now that's it. We're committed, right? Next, black wash bar. So let's get to it. Alright, it's primed. Now it's ready to paint. So I'm gonna go ahead and start spray painting it with some beiges and browns so we get that rock-like feeling. I'm gonna start working on some of the base colors, the details that I'm noticing. Gonna start just adding them before I even get into the dry brushing and the black washing. But getting those details first could be crucial to getting the result that you want. So, but again, you could always go back to it if you go the other way around. If you want to dry brush, black wash, and then add a detail, you can do that as well. But you have to play around with those options, because you'll get different results.
Sorry, won't bring their kites down.
Alrighty, so now it's time for the dry brushing. Well, that's the direction I'm gonna go with. First dry brushing, then do a black wash. So I'm gonna use my warm buff. Just gonna get a napkin. Take anything excessive, and then I'm gonna lightly brush the surface. Now that the dry brushing has been applied, definitely we're gonna do a wash. The wash helps with bringing out some of those details that are a little bit hard to appreciate when you don't do a black wash. So normally I use my black paint. You could definitely mix it with like some browns if you need to. It doesn't always have to be just black. Definitely I've seen different types of washes that could help depending on what is it you're working on. But for this, I think a pure black would be a great base, and then I could go on and see if maybe I need to add some browns. But here's the black, and then adding water. That's really what a wash is. You dilute it, and believe it or not, once it dries, right now it may look a little bit concentrated, or it may come off concentrated, right? Like this, like, oh, you're painting it black. It's not. It will definitely I guess once it dries out, you'll see what stays and what doesn't. So next up, we're gonna be playing with moss. When you look at the scene, there's definitely vegetation coming all over, you know, coming out of the rocks, through the cracks, on top of the pillar. So the best thing that I have is I have some moss. This is actually very close to the most, you know, it's very accurate to what I'm seeing in the reference in the film. So what I'm gonna be doing is kind of almost like putting sprinkles on a cake. You know, first put some glue, sprinkle on top to see where it catches, and then also surgically just put them in places where I'm seeing. So getting some moss brush and this little brush. So next up, we're gonna try to line up this grass. I'm doing it in the approach of a wash. Another way you could do it is with the airbrush, but I think it's a little bit overkill for this. And plus, I want to also provide an alternative for those that don't have airbrushes. So basically, I'm doing a brown wash, and I'm gonna just start dabbing it so that once it dries, the paint sticks to each of these pieces. Here you go, guys. Here's my Indiana Jones, Raider of the Lost Ark, Golden Idol diorama. And guys, if you are a 80s, 90s fans, you like Indiana Jones, and this is a great piece to have in your collection. Hasbro has now given us the chance to have Indiana Jones in our collection, and this is a real small but iconic piece to have in your collection as a diorama. Now, you know, obviously I'm having issues with like limited space, so building dioramas for myself is becoming very, very selective. So something this small works for my collection. I would say this is a great diorama for those that want to get into it or just want to warm up. You know, like for me, I haven't been building lately, so this is a great piece for me to get right back into it. So I think the most challenging part was if I didn't have my foam cutter, building these cylinders would have been a little bit more challenging. But yeah, guys, that's it. Here is my Indiana Jones Golden Idol diorama. It was great to work on this. It feels great to get back into it. Guys, hit me up on Instagram, on Dripmode. And thank you for watching. I hope you learned something new today. And guys, comment, hit that like button, and if you haven't, hit subscribe. Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys later. Peace.